Welcome to the Last Mile Delivery Podcast, your front row seat to the technological advancements shaping the future of last mile logistics. This podcast includes recordings from our Last Mile Delivery meetup, offering you exclusive insights and discussions about the cutting edge of the final mile in logistics. If you are interested in finding out more about upcoming events, technological updates, and industry news, subscribe to the Bettermile newsletter. The link is in our bio.
Hi everyone at home, at the screen, and here on the stage. Welcome to the Last Mile Delivery Meetup. Give yourself a hand. It's been quite a while since we last met. September 11 it was, so 5 months ago. And if you think back what happened within the last 5 months, the world turned upside down, right? So many things changed. The political landscape got so complex. I was at a meeting with a partner in Denmark, and the colleagues were so nice to pick us up at the airport, and they apologized to pick us up in a Tesla, right? And obviously, they ordered the Tesla before Elon got nuts, right? But could you imagine, like a year ago, that someone's apologizing for driving a good electric car? And then, while we seated in the car, we were discussing about Greenland, where Denmark obviously is quite affected, and could also not imagine, like 5 months ago, that this would happen. So really interesting to see how conversations change. And you know what? Today we'll only talk about parcel. Isn't that cool? Reduce the complexity of the world to a very simple box. I mean, we know it's not simple, it has its own complexity, but at least we can, put the context to a certain limit where we're experts at. Looking back to our last delivery meetup, September was still hot outside, and thanks for making this a success. We discussed about how to bridge the gap between letters and parcels. We had Connect to Post over. We had a lot of postal companies over that told us how they deal with the challenge of becoming less a mail company, more a parcel company. And I vividly remember Christian Östergaard from PostNord giving us a pledge for out of home and for automation, a very visionary perspective, looking 10, maybe 20 years ahead. I think that was really exciting and stuck to my mind until today. Nadia from Avery and many, many more joining our panels and also workshops we had around this topic. That was really, really exciting. Today, again, more than 600 participants. When I look around here in the Better Space in Berlin, roughly 120 people. The rest of the people online, from more than 300 organizations and 29 countries. So truly diverse and international crowd. Thanks for joining today. Taking a look at the participants. Delivery company. We have a new joiner here, Purelator from Canada, and Planza from Swiss. We have some new postal companies joining us with Post Italiane and Correios from Portugal. We have from the startups and growth companies, that's actually the only section where we lost more people than gained, right? I mean, that's also what happened in the last half year. We lost companies like Liefergrün, like Versenden, even Gorillas left the stage. But we have companies like Uber Direct now joining our meetup. That actually, when you're in some countries like in the US, you can get your parcels picked up by Uber, right? So that's quite a development, and really excited what's going to come next in this area. Solution providers and tech platforms growing like a group of participants here in our last mile delivery meetup. As new joiners, we have Hubbox and Forward 31, which is, for what I understand, an incubator from Porsche. And actually, the biggest growing group we have today is the retailers and brands. And actually, we needed 2 slides to put all the logos here. And almost all the retailers and brands on this slide are new joiners for today. And I know a lot of you guys are here on site, and I want to cordially thank you for taking the time, coming over and joining this meetup. Please give our retailers and brands a hand. Let's remember why we're here. We want to establish a community, contribute to an exchange of hands-on experiences in parcel logistics, and exciting tech insights is one of the major levers that we have to optimize not only the user experience, but also the productivity and monetization in our business. We're glad to host you tonight again at Bettermile. Now comes my little marketing part. Bettermile is a company here, headquartered in Berlin. We're active roughly in 17 countries in Europe and the United States. Roughly a team of 100 people with 8 years of experience. And what we do is we provide a software as a service product suite. Our customers are carriers or delivery organizations that use, for example, Betterplaces, which is an API for address normalization, geocoding, and geospatial intelligence, including last meter. Better Route, which is basically targeting delivery drivers, help them in optimizing sequences for the day of delivery and in a full dynamic way, including a turn-by-turn navigation. Better Tracking, which is actually the end for the consignees, so they can see where's the delivery vehicle, where my parcel is on, what's the estimated time of arrival. And then last but not least, there is the back office, which is actually targeting the depot personnel, where I can see where's my vehicles, what's their performance, are there any issues, do I need to send a rescue driver? This is where we're helping here. So this was the marketing part. And now we come to the topic of today. It is a retailer and brand topic. We want to discuss how we can perfect the post-purchase from basket to doorstep, right? So we'll take the brands and the retailers first, and then think about how can carriers, parcel carriers, support the overall user experience, and how do these parties need to partner up. And that they do need to partner up and truly have to see them as partners is quite obvious. Platforms, online shops, retailers, brands, they work in contexts like optimizing their checkout processes, in creating trust and transparency, in providing a very good converting CRM and a general optimization of their checkout processes, which is also about user experience. But if they hand over the parcel to the carrier, it is in the carrier's hands to provide the real-time transparency when the parcel is arriving, to provide flexible redirect or delivery options like out of home, like neighbor delivery or alike, to up to the last minute to provide these flexibilities, and if things are not right or not well, also provide the return. And it is a true partnership, right? If one partner does not provide, the whole user experience, the integrated experience, does not work out. It's a true family. When something's odd, a true partnership, when something's odd, the whole thing is not make, it is break. And if you ask consignees or consumers, also in numbers, this gets quite obvious. You can see when asking, I feel strong or very strong excitement in the moment of completing the order. Ramps up 43%, 49%, receiving the shipping confirmation, right? Then seeing the real-time tracking, the parcel is coming closer. They're getting more and more excited, the parcel being handed over, right? So the actual part of the parcel delivery carrier in the overall emotional user experience of ordering and receiving a good plays a crucial part. And the consignees do not differentiate. The consumers do not differentiate. Do not say, yeah, it's not Flaconi's fault, it is DHL's fault, right? In the end, they want to have their perfume in time, and they want to be at home and be ready to accept it, right? So it is almost as emotional to follow up the parcel on the day of delivery coming closer as it is actually opening the box. Isn't that fascinating? It's a true partnership that has to be provided here, right? If you ask if real-time tracking has a significant impact on the satisfaction with an order in retailer, over 50% say yes, right? Also here, no differentiation, what is the retailer and the brand, and what does the actual carrier do? It's an integrated experience. And this is a really mind-blowing number from our last study that we carried out in the United States, where 74% of the consumers say to know a live tracking experience and the actual estimated time window when I can accept a parcel, this would decide one online shop over another, right? So it's not just an emotional experience that we're talking about here, or a user experience that shouldn't break. It is a trigger for a purchase decision, right? This is how deep this partnership of carriers and brands and retailers go. So reason enough to talk today about perfecting post-purchase from basket to doorstep. How will the meetup go today? We'll have 3 speakers, 15 minutes each. After each speaker, you will have a couple of minutes for Q&A. This is for here, our on-site audience. I will pass around a microphone. But also you guys at home, you can use the chat fields wherever you follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Vimeo, to actually fill in your questions, and I'll receive it here on a screen. After the 3 speakers, we'll have a little panel. I'll have 2 fantastic panelists joining me here on stage, and we'll reflect with their brands and them as retailer, how they actually see things as they saw in the presentations beforehand. And then afterwards, we'll join our on-site networking session for those people who are here on site. All right, let me introduce you to our fantastic speakers today. Our first speaker will be Anela Kadric. She is Group Marketing Director at GLS. She's leading the GLS strategic marketing across 21 markets. And her goal that we will hear about today is to make last mile delivery more customer focused and engaging. And when I look at your career, Alena, working for companies like Monster, like Tommy Hilfiger, like Steiff and other companies, it feels like you also want to make it a lifestyle company, GLS. So really curious about what we will hear from you today. Please give Anela a hand. Followed by Kerstin. Kerstin is Managing Director at BVB Merchandise, the football club. Yeah, she has a wealth of experience from sports and retail, for example, from Adidas, Accenture, and other companies. And with her team, Kerstin manages all aspects of purchasing, sales, operational excellence for the football club Borussia Dortmund. I know nothing about football, okay? Please don't ask me anything. I read in the news that the game yesterday was good. And what I know, also coming from the marketing area, is that this is a truly emotional brand and the most emotional football club and the most emotional fan base that you can have in Germany, probably also in Europe. So really excited to hear from you, Kerstin, how you transport this fan experience into the sales and also the carrier, the shipping experience. Please welcome with me Kerstin Zabe. As a third speaker, we'll have Amanda Martinez. She's network partner director at Hubbox. I've known Amanda for a long time, and she has a decade of experience in postal and logistics sector, specialized in building strategic partnerships and digital transformation and e-commerce solutions. Amanda, you just joined like half a year ago, roughly, Hubbox?
4 weeks.
4 weeks ago, okay. And as network partner director, so really curious what you have like first insights from this company and your view from that perspective onto our topic. Please give a cordial welcome to Amanda Martinez. And then for the closing panel of retailers, happy to have Martine Buite and Sebastian Wieloch from Falconi on the stage. Please give them a hand. This was my ramp up. Final notes. Please sign up for our newsletter, follow us on LinkedIn, and also download our latest studies online, where you can find the information that I just provided to you and many, many more. In this channels, you will also be informed about the next meetup that regularly happens every 4 to 6 months. So we haven't decided about a topic yet for the next meetup. Even if you're interested as a speaker, please reach out to us. All right, so let's start perfecting post-purchase from basket to doorstep. And Lena, I'm really happy to welcome you on stage.
Thank you, Simon, for the warm welcome, and thank you all for being here tonight. I'm not sure if I can make it a lifestyle brand. That's maybe one bridge too far, but what I definitely am committed to do is to make it more exciting and more engaging and create actually the experience within last mile delivery. So that being said, is it working? Oh. Yeah, my presentation was also not actually the standard basic presentation that we normally have. So we have some issues in the back with switching, but here we go. So enhancing last mile in retail, delivering excellence. Just a quick look back. In the last couple of years, GLS has gone through a rebranding, and that's when I started noticing them. Before that, I didn't know GLS. And as you can see, up till 24, we were really focusing on refining the building blocks and how do we want to create our brand and what should matter for us as a brand. I joined April 24, and that's when we decided, you know what, now it's time to put our customers first. So from now on, we want to put our customers first, delivering personalized solution, creating value at each and every touch point across the journey. But let's not forget, B2B is our solid foundation, and I've been told, guys, it will remain, so no worries. B2C is actually where we aim to continuously grow, and that's actually showing with the audience we have here today. But out of home is where we actually really see the future of last mile delivery going towards. Okay, well, no worries. It's all today's life. Trends and expectation, I think Simon already mentioned quite a lot of it, but it's all about precision and flexibility when it comes to actually the customers. And one of the other thing is return. Easy returns, I know you guys don't like to speak about it, but it is unfortunately the reality, are very important. Why? Because 82% of the customers do not return to make a purchase at a retailer with a difficult return process. 97% would actually return to the same retailer if they have an easy return process. Just digest it. Why do we believe out of home is the future? Because currently in Europe, around 15% is out of home delivery. Within 5-year times, we expect that number to go up to 40%. And actually within out of home, we are talking two different products here. We have the shops, which are familiar for everyone. And then we have this big wave that started in East Europe and is coming our way. It's lockers. And believe me, we expect that lockers are going to increase significantly and the usage of lockers and the adaptation. Well, when it comes to customer needs, we should really focus on what really matters to them. And why is customer experience so important? Well, we know that 80% of companies that actually do focus on customer experience see an increase in revenue. 68% of buyers are actually willing to pay more, according to PwC, for a greater customer experience. And 96% of customers say customer service is an essential factor in their choice of loyalty towards a brand. Again, post-purchase. So if you're still not convinced, here are 4 more other pillars to think about. Why is it important for your business? Well, it helps you differentiate from your competition. First of all, it increases lifetime value. It increases cost efficiency, but most importantly, it creates trust and loyalty with your brand and your products. Okay, this was a bit of a generic. So how do we translate this to last mile? Well, the thing is that 85%, according to a research by Doodle, of shoppers actually says poor delivery experience would prevent them from ordering from that online retailer again. So it doesn't stop when you have your email sent, it's actually when it starts. So that's why at GLS, we believe that receiving parcels should be a smooth, hassle-free experience that perfectly encapsulates on one side the idea of buying clever for your customers, but also on the other side of selling clever, which is you, our customer. So this is what we should do to meet expectations, but we don't want to meet, we want to exceed. And when it comes to actually last mile, I think what you're doing here with Bettermile is a great example of how we can exceed these expectations. We all know Uber, we all know Picnic, we all know our track and trace emails. Why shouldn't we aim for that level within live tracking? And Simon, thank you for pushing this into the world. The other thing we should do, we should really focus on making it personal. So we believe that instead of saying, go pick your parcel from your locker, we should actually use things like, hey, we've got your parcel, it's waiting for you. You can collect it whenever you want it. It's all about the recipients and not about us. On the other side, how do we incorporate this personal approach and customer-centric approach as GLS? Is actually here you have on one side the shipper, and on the other side you have the receiver. It's like we are not there, right? You know your parcel is being received as a shipper, and as a receiver, you know it's ready to be picked up. The other thing that we are doing is really focusing on customer interactions. These are more important than we all realize. Creating experiences is what really matters nowadays. If you can connect your brand with emotions, with experiences, that's where you add value and you stick in people's mind. So really building stickiness and engagement with your customers is crucial. That really creates trust. So, well, some of you have already had the introduction today, of course, to GLS Next. But at GLS, we really want to unlock even more. Everything that you have seen so far is not really differentiating, as in brands are doing it, competitors maybe not as much, but it's definitely not as new and exciting as what I'm about to show you now. Because we really believe that delivering smooth and delightful experiences is the key to create value and create experiences within the last mile of your purchase. So, examples, and we believe it should be at every touch point. So if your website has a certain look and feel, it doesn't have to stop there. We can translate it actually to everything that happens post-purchase by integrating actually visual experiences at every touch point and creating consistency across the journey. So your customer, they don't know if it's GLS or a colleague called DHL or whoever, but they do know they ordered from Vinted, for example, or maybe they went to Arquette. Oh yeah, or maybe it was Hilti. But what I'm trying to say here, creating consistently and smooth and delightful experiences, if you give your customer the experience that they are always on the same flow, it will increase loyalty, trust, worthiness, and they will return for more. And it doesn't stop there, because this is all digital touchpoints. We want to take it to the next level. I'm sure you have seen them, the big yellow boxes in Germany, the gray boxes in East Europe, the orange boxes in the Netherlands. We have them in all kinds of variations. At GLS, we really want to connect the online experience with the offline surroundings. So I think Base here, they were one of the first ones, Kirsten will speak about it more, to actually do this. But we believe it doesn't stop online. We can connect the online experience with actually the offline touch points that we have to create, again, that consistency, that recognition with your brand and create engagement and loyalty. It doesn't also stop there, because we have all these beautiful parcel shops. And what are we doing with them? Not much from an experience point of view, right? Imagine in the future, you enter to this parcel shop. You come into an experience. You actually can shift depending on the audience who's entering your shop. You can, if it's a customer that really has a lot of care for certain topics or is passionate about your brand, you can actually really translate that into the different touch points. And this is an example of where we want to actually create experiences and connect offline worlds with online and make sure you have a continuous journey as a customer and not get disrupted by boring, dull emails like we have today. So I think these are my key tips towards you. And I think if you take these in mind and think of it, no matter what it is, if it's a new product, if it's an email that you send out, take these 4 tips into account. It really starts with you. You are the lead of your brand and you are in the front seat. We can offer all these enablers, but you make the decisions. So think about it. Flexibility is more important than you realize. We don't like it, but easy return, it really will make a difference. If you don't offer it, you're missing out a lot of business. Flexibility matters. And with that, we don't mean just giving them an option to order to home or a locker, but also in the last mile. So the last part of their journey, it still matters to them. Because how often do you have a parcel coming and then your day turned out completely different and you're not at home and you have this parcel and you have this parcel in your mind and you're like, okay, I now have to work around, find someone to pick it up. Whereas like if you offer that flexibility up till the last minute, you really will experience more loyalty with your customers. Get creative. This is the really important one. If you want to stand out, do it. Dare it. Be different. Because there are so many things that are the same. So if you really want to make your last mile, your post-purchase experience, get creative. There is so much we can do if we are creative. If we step, I know we often think inside the box in this community, but let's step out of the box, because there is much more exciting things outside the box. And be mindful. So really the friction, reduce that, make it as smooth and delightful as you can by creating consistency, creating recognition with your brand, and engaging with your customer on a personal level. So don't generate generic emails, sending them out. Don't have a generic message. Try to make it personal. We have tools nowadays that are really available to each and every one of you in the room. And with that, I think we are ready for questions.
Thanks, Anela. Any questions? I would pick the first question from the room here. Any question? Yeah. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah. So, hi, I'm Lo Chan from Porsche Consulting, within the consumer goods sector within our firm. And when working with brands, we do know they set up a good customer service from the brand side, right? And you said it's, let's say, the partnership between the retailer as well as the carrier. So where does the customer service of the carrier come into play in the future when we're talking about post-purchase experience? When you want to, let's say, voice your opinion about the fault of the carrier, but you can't do that with the customer service of the retailer?
Good question. I would say, looking at how it's currently done, I know often, as a customer, you buy something, you expect your parcel to arrive, then you don't get it on time. Unfortunately, it happens to all of us. Currently reach out to the retailer, but actually they send you to the shipper, right? Or to the delivery provider. I think in the future, because the delivery, in my opinion, if you think of the journey, the mid-layer, the direct-to-consumer becomes more and more important. And I do think in the future, the delivery provider is just going to be an enabler, and the customer will not see the difference in that sense. So what we are doing at GLS, for example, we already are taking care of the customer's customer. So as soon as you have an issue with your delivery, it's our number that's in your email. It's our address. And I think that's really what's going to happen. It's going to be more focused on direct-to-consumer and the awareness of how which shipper and the difference between the two will fade away from a visibility and a customer point of view in the front end.
Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Gregor. I used to be the founder of Packet Concierge, so an out-of-home solution here from Berlin. And I have a question towards the importance of the experience you mentioned, because I think those are essential in what I would call these golden parcels, like these special purposes where you really have that anticipation. But what's actually the share of consumers or the share of packages that consumers receive that are just, let's say, commodity goods, where it's more that they're looking for a peace of mind solution. So I don't need the ability to do all these special tasks. I just want to have it and not worry about it. Do you see that differentiation as well? Or?
I think it's always hard to say what's special for someone, right? Because it could be a commodity to you, but it maybe isn't a commodity to me. So I do think every parcel matters, even the commodity stuff, because you're ordering something because you have an issue and you need a solution. So I do think even with the commodity stuff, if you look at the big wholesalers, bol.com in the Netherlands, Coolblue or Amazon, it's still a war zone out there. And they still order from the one that they know their parcel will be delivered on time, they will have it. If it's washing detergent for the clothing or if it's a brand new Jimmy Choo shoe, doesn't matter. But they want to get it on time because every parcel matters to them. Every parcel, I believe, is equally important.
Anela, we have one question from remote. Someone asking, does GLS use AI to improve customer experience in any way?
Yeah, good question. AI is a buzzword, don't you think? No, actually, GLS, we are really focused on AI and especially customer experience. So last October, we opened an AI hub in Spain that's really focusing on customer experience and optimizing customer experience through AI to make the transitions and, issues with delivery, all of these things. There are AI solutions that we could put into place to make it more, easier on you guys and automate the handling of complaints, for example. That's something we are looking into. But also understanding your audience, so audience segmentations, that's really easy to implement with AI. So we are now investigating like, hey, who's your audience? What's their name? Because again, personalization matters. And with AI, you can enable a lot of personalization.
So a lot of under the hood.
Yes.
That's powered by AI. Any other questions here from the room? Nope. Then I would say, Kerstin, we're handing over to you. Thanks, Anela. Thanks for coming here and joining us. Thanks for your presentation.
Thank you very much. I introduce myself again, Kerstin Zerbe. I'm the Managing Director for BVB Merchandising. So we take care of a jersey and goes really from I don't know, the wardrobe that you have to anything you can imagine has a BVB sign on it. And as Simon said, he doesn't know anything about football. I made sure that I have a video in my presentation so you all get the emotional parts. So that's exactly the point that you got right. So it's really about emotion. And also tying back to the question that we had from you. So I will touch on that as well. Okay, but let's have a start. So more or less putting together what Anela just said with our partners from GLS and then also from Bettermile and how we put it into our practice and how we use it at BVB Merchandising. Okay, small agenda. I will introduce merchandising to you so everyone has the same understanding, show you our current experience, talk a little bit about KPIs so you have an understanding of how our click rates are, and then I show you our future vision because we are just at the start of how we are going to use Bettermile and also then the GLS tracking. But as I said, we will start with the video. So for all of you here in the room and then also around the world, you really get an understanding of the emotional product of BVB.
They call it a football temple, cultural melting pot, and even a treatment center. But for us, it will always be our home, no matter what. In front of thousands of supporters, with no fans at all, in the absence of football, Borussia is our bonding force. We were almost relegated, almost champions, and we were almost bankrupt. But we are always there for each other, no matter what. No matter your skin color, your origin, or your religion, here, character is what counts above all else. Whether in the stadium, in our city, or anywhere around the world, we are a family, no matter what. They were rebels, visionaries, men of honor and value. They are the fathers of our club. They wrote their names in our history, gave everything they had for the club of their hearts. But above all, they are legends of our city. On the pitch, in the stands, we are united as one. We give everything. In good times, in bad times, and for eternity. BVB or nothing. No matter what.
So BVB or nothing, you heard. So everyone who's not a football fan yet, black and yellow just suits everybody. But putting the kidding aside, so when the presentation is back on, I come back to the question that we had in the audience, and also to the chart that Simon showed. Because when we talk about the BVB products, I see the excitement even be at 100% all the time in the journey, and then maybe going up to 120 or 150, because it's such an emotional product that we have. When we think about, for example, Marco Reus retiring from Borussia Dortmund last season, we sold over 20,000 jerseys, and you can imagine just at the end of the season, fans receiving their parcel with this jersey. It's not like, okay, I'm not at home, I leave it to the neighbor. So they are really excited, and that's what makes it for my team, then also for me and for the whole company is so important, is to really provide excellence in this experience to our fans and our consumers. So that's why we had to put the focus on it. Maybe there are a lot of retailers that outperform us in the excellence. We are a football club at first, so always keep this a little bit in mind. We have a lot of technical issues because we are not like any other company out there. But for us, it's a process, and we're taking every step. And we just started a couple of years ago when we started together with GLS and then the Bettermile experience. To put it a little bit into perspective, here we go. You see the organizational chart of Borussia Dortmund. The merchandising is 100% subsidiary. We have over 300 orders a year. We did 50 million sales last year, which was like the highest we ever reached. We have a 11 million net profit and a share of 9.4%. And when you think about the sponsoring and also the TV revenues that we generate that are already summing up to 50%, it's quite a lot of what we do with merchandising. So keep the 300,000 a little bit in the head of your back. And then we come to talk about how we define our post-purchase experience at the moment. Because it's, for me, given to show a little bit the GLS and then also the Bettermile experience, we will focus on delivery, click and collect, and out of home. And we, of course, also think about after sales and returns, but I won't touch base on this a lot. So you see, oh, I didn't click yet. So for all of you who are not familiar with it, that's Nico Schlotterbeck. So we had also a commercial with our players for GLS, really giving this emotional product to the fans. Of course, this was only a commercial, but at some points when we do, for example, a lottery or anything, we still do this kind of things. So we have like legends or Nobby Dickel who really go to a fan and provide the parcel. Then we have click and collect that we have in our plans, but it's our understanding that this will also be a game changer for us. And then, of course, we will use GLS out of home, whether it's the shop or it's the lockers. But you see already in the picture, we have one at our Fanwelt. And you can imagine with GLS being blue and white, which is like the colors of the club, we don't even say the name. Then it's a really nice service that they have individualized lockers that you can even put black and yellow on it. And even some football images. So that's our understanding of the post-purchase, and that's how we do it at the moment. When we now look how this comes to life for the customer or for our fans, we really try to give them the feeling that they never lose track of their order. So first emotional point is order confirmation. Okay, everything went smooth, payment done, they got it. So that's the first point. Then we have a little black box because Borussia Dortmund is taking maybe a little bit longer than Amazon to pack your goods. So send confirmation is then the next major topic for us. And that's the point where we then hand over the parcel to GLS. At the moment, because we just moved to a different platform, we have a little friction in our customer journey of sending too many emails. So You have some mails in black and yellow, and as you can see in the picture, some with the GLS CI, but that's something that we will solve shortly. And then you can imagine it's really just one experience for our fans. But then, of course, GLS is taking over with their service and what they provide. And especially for us, it's really important to now have this track or this reaching when is the parcel being at your doorstep. And I will show you in the KPIs as well. We have a click rate of 49% of our fans. So that's quite a number when you think about 200 tracked packages that we have. So we have also our own retail stores in B2B business, so that's why it's not summing up to the 300,000. But 200,000 tracked packages. We have per package 5 impressions on the side of GLS. So you can imagine that the BVB fan is most likely those that click on refresh and see, is it here now? Is it here now? So that's the BVB fan, and then putting up the numbers higher. And I don't know exactly when we started it, but we put also our ad on this tracking page, and we have a conversion of over 3.5 that then click back to our shop and hopefully shop for some more. This is something that we're just starting. So we have a static image at the moment. This will go to video or at least animated content. So this number will increase most likely. But for us, it's very, very satisfying from a company perspective. But of course, more serving our fans and then really being one black and yellow experience, I would say. What we want to achieve in the future, and we try to mock it up a little bit because we are not there yet. At the moment, you can only choose delivery. So it's only going to your home. So that's the first option that you see on the packet on the image. The second is then the click and collect, and that's where in our vision we will directly work together with GLS, like you saw in the other image, where we have the locker directly next to our fan shop, because this will enable our fans not only to come to VVB when the store is open, so that's normally from 10 to 6, or in a shopping mall maybe from 10 to 8, but it's not that convenient. So we will more think about having outside of our shops lockers in the future, and then every fan can choose to collect it there. For us, it will be more or less a huge game changer, because then we can go to the stock of the store and have it more or less ready in 1 or 2 hours, like all the experience that you have with, I don't know, DM or any other store. We can do reservations. And then the other point is to really get connected to all the GLS points, so either sending it to any other locker or to any other shop. So this is more or less our vision of how our web shop should look like. So the first point, I already talked about the shipment methods. The 24/7 for us at the moment, it's really overcoming the technical limits that we have. So for most of the retailers here in the room, it's something that's more or less the basics, but we don't have a live stock. So if I go in the fan world, I don't know from the 100 jerseys I had in the beginning of the day, I don't know if it's now 99 or if I have none left. So that's a limitation, and then making click and collect, of course, a little bit difficult for us. You saw in the presentation of Anela the GLS shop. So this is going to be right next to our office. Perfect experience of our brand, but also then a service to our fans. And of course, being Borussia Dortmund, also a sponsoring effect. So on the page with the ad, could integrate partners, could do cross-selling, etc., etc. So this is really a potential way for us to even give our fans a wider range of products, wider range of, I don't know, putting discounts next to it, etc., etc. So that's at the moment what we are thinking about our next steps. And yeah, maybe I'm here one of the next meetings and I can show you how we progressed from that far. So thank you all. I hope you had some insights into Borussia Dortmund and how we understand the last mile at the moment.
Thanks, Kerstin. Impressive presentation. Any questions here from the room that I can take? None? So then I will have one. You know what I found really refreshing? You talked about real-world problems in terms of we're changing platforms and then we're sending too many emails. This is, I think, what everyone knows. And it's so good to have this, this kind of real-world problems and that, I don't feel alone being the only one having those. Like coming back to this problems, you mentioned on real-world problems, you mentioned click and collect. Right? That's a really interesting topic, especially for stationary retailers. You mentioned you have to fix some, basically your warehouse management to have this data available. What are your further plans? I mean, makes sense to have lockers in front of the stores and like rather connectors, and also use the shops as smaller micro warehouses. But what's your future vision? Where could this even go? I mean, football fans are all around, right? And they have their spots where they meet, etc. So maybe if you could let us participate in your thoughts here, that would be great.
Yeah, so for me it's probably two, and you can understand from the problems that I just more or less showed you. I won't do like two big steps, so I will talk about little steps. So one is BVB is currently in a digital transformation, I would call it. So changing the ERP system by the end of the year, and this will put us from a system that is almost 20 years old to a system that can be updated, etc. So more or less what every other company thinks it's normal, it's maybe not, and that's what you said. It's the problems that everyone also has. So it's really the ERP system and all the advantages that come with that. So livestock is one, for example. Then of course, more or less getting all the interfaces to all the different, whether it's being any other system, connections, EDI, whatever. So at the moment it's really complicated and taking a lot of time. So really giving us the speed in the future. And when you looked at the presentation, at the moment it's really focusing on Germany. So when I think about the future, BVB will have a much wider impact in an international scope, especially in the US. So hopefully with the Club World Cup in summer, we get some more BVB fans. And then of course it's all about us. How do we scale it to the US? How can we deliver the speed, for example? Because at the moment, or if you order today, then we are fast, and you will probably have the parcel in the US in 2 days. But if you order on a normal scope, where we're not on place 11, and where the volume is a little bit higher, it takes about 7 days, I would say, and we have really high shipping costs. So not really giving the international fans reason to buy from us. So really ERP and international scope, I would say.
So as emotional as football is, you have also to fill an immediate demand, right?
Yep.
So the emotion is there, and then they want to have their jersey, or they want to have something else. And if you don't have it available, then you won't make the sale anymore, probably, right? So it's this one point in time that I fully understand. It's also dependent on shipping, actually, but also your warehousing, etc. So this going across the pond can be quite a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, for us, of course, most BVB fans want to buy the product at BVB, so they buy it at the club. Maybe they don't go to Zalando or any other retailer who is the same product and delivers faster. Most of the fans really go to our page. So that's for us. It's a good thing, but it shouldn't be our comfort zone of saying we do nothing because they come. So we need to step up to the game and more or less provide the same excellence as other retailers.
Kerstin, I can really imagine that you sit with BVB management in front of the telly, watching, or even in the stadium, watching the team in their US game, and everyone's like cheering that they will actually win. And then they actually win, and everyone's like, yeah, and you're like, oh no, I have a job to do. So thanks for joining us and letting us participate. Oh, there's a question, yeah, sure.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation. In that theme of internationalization, can you share what the percentage of your national orders are at the moment and what's outside of Germany?
Yeah, so we have 90% of our orders from Germany. Then it's another 5 to 8% that are in Europe. And then the first country outside of Europe is the US. It's 2% at the moment.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you very much.
Kerstin. A big applause for Kerstin. Thank you. And please welcome Amanda on the stage.
Okay, I think I'll have a seat. Been quite sick the last couple of weeks. Not contagious anymore, I don't think, but gonna take it easy here. So yeah, Kirsten, this was a great lead-in at the end of your presentation to talk about Hubbox, because what I'm going to explain today is a little bit connects the dots between what we heard today already from the carrier's perspective on out-of-home delivery particularly, and then the retailer's perspective on that too. And Hubbox kind of really sits in the middle of those two and connects those dots. If you take away two things, I think it's the two defining questions, I believe, at Hubbox. As Simon said, I've only been there 4 weeks, so you're really getting the newbie's perspective here. Is these two questions that we're asking that define how we look at out-of-home is, okay, carriers obviously want more out-of-home deliveries, right? There's less failed deliveries, there's the efficiency gains. We know the reasons why that benefits carriers. But how do you get more volume into your out-of-home network? And then on the retailer side of things, we're looking at, okay, if pickup is offered at checkout, how do you drive more of your customers to choose that option? So those are the two things I think that can sum up what I'll go into a little bit more detail about. So I'll go through some of these really quickly. We know couriers are investing heavily in out-of-home. However, there is this kind of build it and they will come fallacy. So even though networks are expanding, you see more lockers. We saw the picture of the beautiful Dortmund lockers. There still needs to be that piece to drive volume to those locations. But there's a lot of problems with doing this. So your top 1% of retailers, your H&Ms and others will have some sort of pickup at checkout option. But most will not have this because it's very difficult, it's costly and complex. And this is what we specialize in doing at Hubbox, just to kind of go ahead and get to that point here. And we found that even retailers such as Nespresso or UGG Boots don't have this at checkout and have tried it themselves, but the integration is too complex. Carriers also haven't been able to really master this. So some carriers will have a pickup at checkout solution for maybe some of their largest shippers, but then they have, 20,000 or more shippers sometimes. So it's not something that's scalable across all of their shipping customers. So this is one of the things that Hubbox has been developing for the last 8 years is something that is scalable, to have a pickup solution at checkout that can work for any e-commerce company, and one that drives volume as well. So imagine that you're a carrier, for example, or just a software company, and you say, okay, I want to build this specific piece to go in at checkout, to where everyone can kind of choose out of home if they want to. Well, to do that, you need to be able to integrate with your carrier partners. You need to build something that's compatible with the rest of your site. So you spend a lot of time on your site and creating a customer experience, and then you need the checkout experience to kind of have that same element as well. And you need to figure out what is going to drive your customers to choosing that. And this goes into a little bit about what I just mentioned about how do you get more people to choose it. So I've just put up a few examples here of some of the features that Hubbox works on, and there's others that kind of where we're trying to think about the customer journey throughout with our retailers. So first of all, you need incentives for customers to choose pickup. Here you'll see one of our carrier partners in the US, UPS, that very much highlights that if you choose the pickup option, it's free. Or some carriers will say, okay, if you choose the pickup option, it's next day. And this can be completely customized to provide whatever incentives you want there, whether it's sustainability or other things. We need customized branding. So whenever you're listing your pickup locations, I mean, you probably have done this on, like, say, one of a larger site like Zara or something, where you're able to choose your pickup option, and you need all of those listings to be branded in the same way that the site is, and it needs to look that way and feel that way. And then the experience for choosing your pickup location. I think this is the most important. Something not pictured that we're working on here is having a photo of what these shops look like, because as you probably know, like sometimes I go to different pickup stations depending on when I'm on my journey home. So if I'm picking up my dog from somewhere, or if I've went to the store, I might choose a different one. And then it's always, I'm looking for that shop. I don't know what it looks like because I'm not on that street typically during the day. So we're building in like a picture of what that looks like just to make it more intuitive for the customer. And then building in detailed information on every location and being able to filter that so that you're not just looking at opening and closing times, but you're looking at things as, is there accessibility options if there's someone who's in a wheelchair or an older person, is there parking on site? What other facilities are offered at that store pickup location? And then there's the whole integration piece. So I'm not going to pretend at all to be a tech person, but this is something that we've really mastered over the last 8 years. So you have the whole pre-deployment and post-deployment. So say you're this person sitting there as a carrier or as a software developer, and you're trying to think about how to build this out, how to make people choose it at checkout, and then you have to make sure that it can go into any checkout, and every checkout is different. So we have a team of integration managers and software engineers that kind of do this from A to Z with retailers and with the carrier as well as the developer portal. And then there's the post-deployment. So you also have to think about, after this goes on the page, if a retailer, for example, is on a Shopify or Shopify Plus or one of these other platforms, those platforms are making changes every few months sometimes. So there really needs to be someone there with the customer that's assigned to deal with these issues that come up over the lifespan of the software license. And then, of course, just like the out-of-home infrastructure, it's not something that you build and then people will come, right? You really need a team of e-commerce software experts in sales to go out and explain the solution, explain the benefits to retailers, and get carriers out-of-home network into as many checkouts as possible. So I briefly explained, just to give you an idea of how Hubbox works. I think it's really good to kind of walk through how we partner with carriers. And then that will lead us into kind of the ROI of this whole model. So of course, we first do discovery with carriers. We find out their business needs. We're starting to see that a lot of carriers have specific out-of-home growth targets. So how they're trying to get a certain number of volume into their out-of-home network within a year or within 18 months. So we go through that discovery phase with them to see, where we're trying to get to, how we're going to maximize that out-of-home volume for them. And then our carrier partners pre-purchase an agreed number of license for a period of 1 year. And this is kind of what we have found works best for boosting volume the most quickly. Retailer adoption goes up by 5 times. There's a strong payback for couriers, and it offers exclusivity to the courier for that 1 year of the funded license. And I can explain a little bit more how that works in the ROI slide. This just goes over the whole integration piece. So once we partner with the carrier, we determine these goals, we do the discovery, we look at their location feed, then it's all about getting their data into Hubbox so that it can work on any e-commerce platform. So we say that Hubbox works with 99% of e-commerce platforms. And yeah, we create a whole sales toolkit. So I explained this about, when you've built this and then you need to go out and get it into as many checkout pages as possible, that there needs to really be a team there and a whole system for creating this growth. And this kind of gets to the meat of it here. This is a small case study to just kind of show how the journey works between carrier and between the retailer. So say we've had, this is kind of like a culmination of data between different carriers we've worked with that say, okay, we're going to fund 500,000 in licenses, in Hubbox licenses. Our sales team then goes out and distributes that to different retailers. And the cost per license is different depending on the size of the retailer. But on average, this means about 125 retailers will then have that carrier's pickup option on their checkout page. So just as Kirsten showed on her last slide, this option to pick up with GLS, this is, if GLS were the example here, then 125 new retailers would have that in their checkout. On average, for the size of retailers that we work with, you're looking at like their overall volume being about 12.5 million parcels a year. With a 20% conversion, or what we call take rate. So this is the percentage of people that at checkout then choose pickup instead of home delivery. And this is a very conservative number because in Germany it's higher for people who choose pickup. France, it's around 21%. Yeah, so it varies, but let's say with 20% conversion in Europe, this is about 2.5 million parcels now going into this carrier's out-of-home network. So not new volume, but this is volume that would have went to a home delivery is now going to a locker or a pickup point. So over 3 years, around 7.5 million parcels, and it's very conservative numbers. And actually, in this case study, they said, okay, we want these licenses distributed within 12 months. We distributed them within 9 months. So then we added even more than the 125 retailers. I think we're at 500 retailers for this particular case study now. Yeah, and that's it. Like I mentioned before, like as Kirsten alluded to as well, you think that this is something that just would be in every checkout, right? Choosing home delivery or pickup delivery, but actually brands as big as Macy's, Birkenstock, Nespresso, Selfridges didn't have this there and are using Hubbox to do that because we do this one thing. And we do this with different carrier partners and putting parcels into their out-of-home networks. So.
Right, thanks. Thank you, Amanda. And we have a first question.
Hey, great presentation. I'm Thomas from Here Technologies. We make sure to geocode, for example, the addresses in the markets. I have a question. Who is the real driving force pushing the customer towards pickup? Is it the carriers to save money, or is it the retailers? Because if I put myself in the shoes of consignee, right, I want to get it to the door, right? And unless there's a benefit that I pay less, and that would be the easy way to shift customers, right? Then I would go and might pick it up with a certain, if it's not that heavy, right? So who is the main driving force pushing into that direction?
Yeah, good question. I think that in the end, when you kind of see how this all comes together, everyone is really winning from this. So retailers really want to offer this because they're finding that when customers have more options at checkout for delivery, that they have higher conversion. And that customers are more satisfied when they see that they have more options there, right? We want the choice. I travel a lot, so I'm an American, I live in Germany. Of course, home delivery, for me, I would have just thought always home delivery. But because I travel so much, I actually choose pickup a lot because I'm almost never home when a package comes. So yeah, we're seeing conversion. Also, retailers see almost 20% less call center volume whenever they've integrated with Hubbox and they have more pickup, customers choosing pickup. So there's a lot of benefits to the retailers as well. So with this funded licenses program, for example, after a year, the retailers pick up the bill gladly because they don't want to take this away from their customers and they see real results.
Any other question? Yes. Please provide some support. Thank you.
Hi, thank you for the detailed presentation. So this is more about the potential you see for your data. So you work with retailers, you work with the carriers as well. So you own a lot of data that can give you insights into network planning, for example, right? So is there anything within the roadmap of Hubbox into investing into physical, let's say, private label as in your own lockers, or advising your carriers into network planning for the future of out of home?
I would say for physical infrastructure, no, but I think you're spot on with the data question because we are learning so much about what drives this kind of behavior, how people choose their pickup location. Greg here has been with the company since the very beginning, so he could probably talk to you a little bit offline afterwards about that. But we do see great potential here to use this data. But right now we're very focused on the checkout piece.
Any other question here from the site? I have one remote question for Amanda. What are the main benefits for retailers in offering pickup at the checkout process?
Yeah, I think we answered this with your question, right? So there's higher conversion when there's more choice. There's less call center volume. I think people put more in their cart in terms of value when they're choosing pickup. So it's just really about creating a better customer experience.
Mm-hmm. Then we heard from Kerstin and other speakers also about click and collect. Is this also part of your customer journey that you're thinking about? So even leaving the carriers out, just go into the lockers directly?
Well, I mean, Greg can talk about this a lot more than I can, but Hubbox started out with actual physical infrastructure, and that's how we really learned the integration piece, and we learned the pain points of the integration piece, and we said we just want to do this. So yeah, no physical infrastructure for Hubbox.
Okay, not physical, but not necessarily from an online shop, right? Could also be like other touch points. What we also see in Bettermile numbers, for example, is that over 50%, 60% of people want ad hoc redirect options, not choosing in the checkout process, rather later down the road on the day of delivery. Is this also something that you're thinking about or Hubbox is thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when carriers are focused on driving out of home volume, the in-flight redirects or returns just aren't getting as much of that volume as they want into their out of home network. So we're really focused on like that checkout piece. And lots of things can be integrated into that piece depending on the carrier that we're working with. But for now, no.
Okay. Any other questions here from site? Yes.
Hi, thank you. My name is Torben from PMXL, and I've seen some rather crazy videos, and also we have some experience with China, but there's also kind of an out-of-home experience with drones, where people can directly connect to a drone and get the parcel delivered to them where they are at the moment. Has it ever been a topic here with you guys?
I mean, if there's a drone location that can be selected at checkouts that a carrier is offering, then that's integrated into Hubbox software.
Okay, pick one last question.
Hi, thank you. So just wanted to weigh in on the importance of out-of-home. I mean, we're still discussing whether consumers want it. From our data, we have managed to get these 40% that are like the target. We've had that in our network. And you don't have to make things free or cheaper for consumers. You just have to build the right experience. So out-of-home is the key, and it's what's going to drive efficiency.
All right. Thank you very much. And thanks, Amanda. Please
you.
give her a warm applause. And I would ask Martin Buttier and Sebastian Willoch to the front so we can have our closing panel. Please give them also a warm applause. Thanks, guys. What you just heard from our speakers. Simple question. Are you impressed or not? You are the retailers. You are the brands. Did it?
I think it's I recognize a lot of the problems, a lot of the solutions we are looking at, but are not there yet. Yeah, I recognize a lot.
How about you?
For me, I'm impressed by the mindset of everybody. I think this is something that every retailer and every carrier should bring to the table. To see that this is kind of the newest trend, the development in market, to make a difference to other competitors, and to really not just squeeze out the last piece of your customer, but creating an experience that is super seamless and make it as easy as possible for the customer.
Sebastian, you work for Flaconi. Maybe you can give us a little intro about the company, like in a nutshell, and also about your role. And when you talk about user experience, what's like your perspective? What's Flaconi's perspective on this seamless experience?
Okay, yeah, for sure. So Flaconi is an online beauty retailer, famously in Germany, having 90% of our revenue coming from Germany. Currently driving an international growth strategy, covering other markets around the German border. Just reached the 500 million revenue last year with a 30% growth year over year. So quite a successful end of the last year. And I think we are already very good when it comes to creating kind of an excitement when you enter our page, and you probably see some of the TV commercials. It is always about creating the right feeling and getting the people interacted with. I think we are just slightly below what BVB currently
I was just wanted to say.
with the experience. Because every product that you choose, it expresses kind of yourself. A perfume is something very personal.
It's personality.
You don't choose it very randomly. You usually have a thought behind it. So this is why we think we have kind of an excitement with our products as well. And we see as well that from the projects we are driving, we would like to have that whole purchase experience as well. Gaining or like owning the whole relationship to the customer, and every interaction with the customer, every touch point has a value. And we would like to own that value. And having then what Gilles just offered with a spotlight, getting the customers always back to your page, offering him new ads or anything like this, or already inform him about possible returns. This is something that creates value and trust and can create a difference.
Thanks. Martin, Vida XL, something completely different, right?
Yes.
But less emotional? It's not, right?
Well, I don't know if it's less emotional, but maybe...
Can you give us a little intro about the company
Yes.
and your role and your view on user experience and seamless experience?
Yes, so Vida XL is selling a lot of products, but mostly furniture for in-house and also for the garden. So, and all over the world. So we have to do with a lot of carriers and a lot of differences between countries. And our products tend to be a little bit larger than average. So that's an extra challenge. And especially if you're talking about out of home. But we really do see the difference and also the excitement there, because it brings a lot of solutions also for problems we see in delivery and missed deliveries because the driver was not there or the customer was not at home, and then you have the fight between who is right. And in our returns, for instance, in Germany, we use a lot out of home to drop off returns, and that is much more clear. We have less problems there in discussions. You were not at home. For instance, in other countries, we don't have that option, and then we have a lot of complaints at our customer service. Yes, I was whole day at home waiting for the
especially the collections also then need to be organized. And where there is like a garden equipment thing, that's quite a heavy lift.
But so that is the problem. You can't do everything via out of home, but you can do some parts.
When talking about this seamless experience, I mean, you have one of the most successful online shops, right? Like conversion optimized. I remember visiting your very impressive site and your very impressive warehouse one day, and everything's optimized from the start to like your checkout process. And then, I mean, and you also work with various like carriers and customers across many countries. Where do you see those major breaking points that make your user experience break? Right?
That's from checkout till delivery, because we are struggling a lot with sending emails, sending messages to our customers from our side, but also carriers are sending those messages, and we also tend to send too many emails or too less emails, and all depending also on the carriers we are working with, because the one is not the other, and we are really trying to find a balance there. Not too many emails, but more, but enough emails, and also we want to point attention to specific things if a parcel has been dropped at the parcel shop, for instance, and normally the customer gets a warning or a message from the carrier, but not always. For instance, if we did not share the correct details of the customer, that is already a problem, so we try to solve that. Or if we want to send extra instructions after the customer received the product on how to unpack it or to treat the furniture. So we are really trying to find the balance there, and then country by country, carrier by carrier.
The nitty-gritty work that in the end makes a good user experience, solving it one by one. Sebastian, you talked about, the way you talked I liked a lot. In your previous statement, you said, we want to own the experience from the start to the end, like unto the delivery. But actually, you're not a parcel carrier. How do you want to own this experience? Do you want to build up your own delivery fleet? There have been people trying that before.
Sadly not.
No, I'm kidding. But like, how do you want to own this, right? What's like your major points where you say, this makes me the owner of the user experience where I'm under control?
Our touch points are all the digital touch points that we have with the customer. And I think, like we heard already before from Anela, it doesn't stop just with the payment or with the checkout. So everything that's coming afterwards is very important as well. You have 4 or 5 times the customers checking where's the order. These are possible interactions that you can actually use to drive conversion rates with the customer. So why not making a seamless conversion optic and everything looking like from your own brand, and always giving the customer the feeling that he's always in good hands in the brand that he chose and that he's trusting.
Martin, what would be your like wish and say, this is what I would expect if I would have a wish for free, like what I would expect my carriers in the countries to actually fix in the digital journey?
To be a bit more similar and to have the same, the same messages and the same
so that
way
you can
of
better
working.
harmonize.
Yeah, exactly.
Find one data model that we can connect
exactly.
to.
And also like the
last
last presentation, because this is also something we are struggling with. Yeah, every carrier has his own solution in showing the pickup points, and then we need to integrate them all one by one.
That's why we're here today. We need to partner up, right? Instead of solving and reinventing the wheel over and over again, we need to craft the partnerships and work together. I want to connect to one thing that I like very much from Kerstin's presentation. This, she disclosed like a very hands-on problem. We're switching from platform A to platform B, and now we're sending out double emails, and this really sucks. Can you disclose one of your everyday hands-on problems? Just because we're curious, and it makes us feel good because we share the same problems. That's a silly question.
I mean, we could tell a lot of customer care stories, right? I think.
What was your weirdest one?
They're the usual ones, right? From the carrier's not ringing at the door, from why he's not finding the address.
Who would ever do this?
I never heard of these issues with GLS. No, I'm not making any advertising here. No, but I think one of my issues that I experience as Flaconi is probably integrational effort. I would like to offer a variety of carriers for our customers and giving them actually the option of choosing what suits best for them, which could be a pickup point that is just on the way to the daily work, and not the closest pickup point is not always the most suitable. And I think the more easier you are able to integrate carriers with you, the more options you can give to the carriers, and the more likely it is that he actually chooses you as your favorite retailer.
Martin, you mentioned you have a lot of big and bulky products. So the orchestration with a consignees to actually accept the parcels it gets more important. That's what I would assume. So topic of ETA, estimated time of arrival. How operational is this topic for you?
This is important, and also what I mentioned just for returns, the same applies for deliveries. Customers are staying at home because they are told that they will receive a parcel, and if it's then in the morning or between 10 and 12, that is much better than they stay at home whole day. And it can happen that it's delayed, but we want to inform our customers up front of everything what is happening. We understand that the world is not perfect and that everything can happen, but we want to be proactive to inform our customers as early as possible.
Sebastian, how about you? Estimated time of arrivals. Is this a topic? For you?
I definitely love the topic. So I came from ASOS, where the estimated date of arrival was like the overall key. It was the holy grail. This must have been right. And the next step is just making sure that the delivery window is correct. Because in times of home office, where you usually have calls, it is nice to be prepared if the delivery driver will arrive within a call, or if you can just reschedule everything in your day a little bit.
Absolutely. And I mean, let's not forget, the customer might order a box per week at Flaconi, if it's a heavy shopper. Hopefully, right? But they use Uber and Flink and food delivery of Wolt and Foodora and Uber Eats all in between, and they have this user experience, right, where you see it's coming closer. This is the 10 minutes where it's arrived. So it's just not us, working in the parcel business or on the shopper side, on the shop side, that actually create the demand. It's also the world around us that is determined by Uber and others. And they set basically the standard of the expected delivery experience.
A very good point. And I would like to add that I think from the digital point of view, and from the back end and from the software, everything can be as seamless as possible. You can have AI, you can have big data, but at the end, it all comes down to the last person that has this parcel in the hands. And this is then where the carrier has the responsibility that they have the right person that actually fulfills this delivery, and he is actually closing the experience when it comes to delivery. And
Absolutely.
And that counts then at the end.
And let's not forget, it's not machines, it's people, right? So we have to make it suitable also for them, and they actually keep the world running, the delivery world running, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I think that's a great end. We've been 1.5 hours in a row, so I want to thank you, Sebastian, Martin, also the other speakers today. Please give them a warm applause and thank you. Keep seated. I want to thank you again for joining today here on site and also on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on all our channels. There will be interesting summaries of the conversations that we had today, documents and videos. So make sure you sign up for the Bettermile newsletter and follow us on LinkedIn, so you get all the contents and materials, not only about the session today, but also about further in the past and the future events. Thanks very much for coming here. We'll just start into the on-site networking session. We've food prepared, wine prepared, beers prepared, soft drinks prepared. Really curious to continue the conversation with you in one-on-ones, in smaller groups. I want to cordially thank you for coming here. Thanks to our technicians organizing this event today, and the Bettermile marketing team putting everything together. Warm welcome and applause for you guys, and see you in a minute at the fridge. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Last Mile Delivery Meetup. We hope you enjoyed the exclusive insights and discussions shared during this podcast. If you are interested in finding out more about upcoming events, technological updates, and industry news, subscribe to the Bettermile newsletter. The link is in our bio. Thanks for listening.